within which to operate. Within the first 3 years, by the time you enter the third year, electionary campaign had already started again. And they have little or nothing to do again because they will concentrate their attention either seeking re-election or trying to tidy up the office so as to be able to hand over to somebody else. So if it's taking about 3 months, 4, 5 months to appoint minister, for God's sake, when will you have the time to do the job? That is my problem. If the man has had opportunity to prepare as he said he was, and let's take our mind back to 1989, for example. Before Bafemalo came to power, before Namda Zikwe, and then Alaji Shehu Chagari and all of them, Aminu Kano, they had a blueprint of what they want to do with Nigeria. And the UPN said free education, free health, free housing, the NPN of those, they said, look, we're going to give you clean revolution, we give you massive housing and qualitative education. Ditto for the PRP. But here you have a party and you have a man who served for 12 years, for God's sake. And still done in this way, and all the decisions have taken the last 1 month. Have all been wrong.
You've forgotten that since he came into power, in just 1 calendar month and a few days, the refineries in the next few days will be working. But it's part of it. It's part of it. Now, when you talk of security, giving it a positive response and getting the alliance, a lot of alliance, in other words, in order to tackle the problems of
countries that are in similar problems, that are negative.
Whether there are similar problems or not, Nigeria cannot do it alone. You need the support of other countries to work together.
I don't think so. I have not seen any country in the world in which external forces have helped you to surmount your insurgency. All over the world, it has always been homegrown solutions to insurgency problems. Take, for example,
about the relocation. How about the tactics? Are presently relocating the defense headquarters down to
with due regard to Mr. President. That is the most stupid decision Mr. President has taken since he came into power. Why do I say this?
Why?
Americans, for example, are fighting wars in Afghanistan. They are fighting in Pakistan. When they went to take out Bin Laden, do they have to relocate the command headquarters to those places? The drone that they wish to kill their political opponent is being operated from Washington. So what did Mr. President say? You don't need, now he has relocated the command headquarters to Maiduguri. Is he going to relocate it to Kano and Kaduna and Jos now, where insurgency is even becoming more problematic?
Perhaps is he going to do that? Was relocated. And the Boko Haram, they are trying to give us a signal that they can attack in any other place.
Everything that was taught in the military school. If he hasn't forgotten what was taught in the military school, he will not be relocating the command headquarters to Maiduguri.
Let's stay on the issue.
Yes.
Let's stay on the issue. So perhaps, she said something, perhaps relocating the command headquarters has just opened up the fact that Boko Haram has tentacles in other parts. That's what you're trying to say?
No, I don't think so. Boko Haram has always been active in some of these places before. A little time, you see, like I'm sorry to go back to what I said. Anybody who understands the elementary logics of military warfare will tell you that once you put pressure on Boko Haram in Maiduguri, and then you dislodge them, what they probably do to relieve the pressure is to open up other theaters of war so as to distract your attention. And I suspect that is what the Boko Haram have been doing. So a man who is on top of the game, another would have known that modern warfare, you don't have to be at the theater of the war.
Okay,
so you can have an effective command. Communication is the essence of the game.
Respond to this. Gloria Adagbon says 16 years of systemic abuse, chaos, and institutionalized corruption cannot be undone under 2 months. He needs time.
That's a layman's excuse.
What do you say?
Layman's excuse.
What do you expect in 1 calendar month? I told you, should magic be performed under 1 month?
I expect miracles.
After 16
especially with all the promises that we have from the presidency.
Mismanagement.
I expect it.
Do you expect it?
Which government has ever taken over power in this country that never met rot, that never met mismanagement? When Jonathan came into power, he gave similar excuses. When Obasanjo came in, he painted the picture that everyone was going to collapse over Nigerian people's heads.
President Jonathan
he didn't collapse.
Took over from President Obasanjo.
Exactly.
They are from the same party, PDP.
Exactly.
Now, I'm telling you now, what's the difference? The difference now is that there's a total change. This is the first time in the history of this country, in 50 years, that Nigeria has...
And I even disagree with you, there's any change. It is a change, not
for those who desire
All the people who have made the victory of the APC,
for those who desire for a positive change, are not anxious. They are not anxious.
But then there has been a change of vehicle, not change of
they are not anxious for a new minister to come over on board just like that. If Mr. President had vowed that he was going to fight corruption, that is one of the reasons he had the votes of the people when people said they wanted a change. So the caliber of people
corruption
must
is easier fought with mouth than with action.
It has to be done with action. And by the time the appointees are out, then you can decide and judge.
Is Attorney General to be the arrowhead of the...
No, but wait, hold on, Kolawole. I know you're a lawyer,
yeah.
But do we need the Attorney General for the laws to be followed through, for the act setting of the EFCC, for institutions to run?
Of course, and I do know that you need kind of, so to say, authorization for some of these people to be prosecuted by the Attorney General. You can go to look at what the recent case I want to cite. Adegboluwa wrote some things in the paper, and some of the things he took to court is to say, look, this man is ruling this country with a military background and all that, without an Attorney General in place. Because the Attorney General knows the law. He knows what to do. He is the one who should give advice as regards who to be prosecuted and not to be prosecuted, and how to go about it. So you now have a man who is purely a military person, and with all these myriad of cases in court, from the AP, from the EFCC, ICPC, from the Special Fraud Unit, and all manners of agencies.
But, Kolawole, there's a question that she asked earlier, which I wrote down, and I thought you picked that up, but you didn't. She said, we've had ministers in the past. What did they do for the economy? What did they do for Nigeria? What did they do for the legal system?
Fantastic. I agree with you that the performances...
You don't agree with me, she's the one asking the question.
Yeah, okay, I agree with her that the performances of the ministers and Attorney General that we have had in the past may not have been evil, but we saw some flashes of inspiration from some of them. I give you an example. A lot of kudos were paid to Akinwumi Shola. A lot of kudos were paid to the man who was in charge of foreign trades and what have you. I've forgotten his name now, who represented Lagos as a minister. And then people like Rufai were commended when they were ministers of the Federal Capital Territory.
Now, when you talk of...
if you not even leave the performances of the ministers and all, what I'm saying is the nutshell is it's a constitutional responsibility that no man or woman can rule Nigeria as a dictator. That as soon as you enter the office, as soon as you're sworn in on May 29, you have to form a cabinet within a reasonable period of time. And this man is free to do. Instead, he's ruling with his vice president and his wife. The constitution does not give provision for such things.
Before you can call anyone a dictator, coming from a military background, and from his wealth of experience, he said that very soon he's going to release the names of his political and political.
He said so. The man is hiding some things, and let me tell you, part of his fears is that if he send a list of ministers to the National Assembly, if people like Bukola, if his people are not represented, such lists are never going to be approved. There's a crisis within the house.
Because
and so the man is trying to pretend as if everything is normal. He can't send any list to the Assembly.
But he has not. With people like he only advised them and said they can work with them. He never intervened.
Dr. Bukola Saraki, Senate President.
Well,
thank you.
Dr. Saraki, so to say, let's give...
Okay, that Dr. Bukola Saraki, because it's the Senate President, so the President cannot work.
The man is not in control of the National Assembly, especially of the Senate. If he sends any list in there,
that's right.
If what we saw in the appointment, the election of principal officers of the house is anything to go by, such a list is not likely to see the light of day. And then the man will be put in a very bitter problem.
He's not in control of the National Assembly. Is the President supposed to be in control of the National Assembly?
Not control as such. I'm sorry to use the word.
That's supposed to be an institution of his own.
Yes, it is. But you and I will remember that you see the constitution of federal republic, even though recognizes
the president has said he will stand by the rule of law.
The rule of law.
And the laws say the National Assembly is on its own.
The separation of power.
The rule of separation of powers.
The separation of power that we have in the National Assembly is a mere division of labor.
Hold on.
It's a mere division of labor.
These are speculations.
Hold on now. Does the president have control? does the president need to have control of the National Assembly?
He does not need to have control
of
the National Assembly.
If he's fighting against corruption,